Shalom, shalom to all my brothers and sisters out there, especially the ones in this truth and this faith walk. Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, and Shalom to you all. This is Brother Yashar from the Seeds of Israel camp coming back at you with another segment. First off, I would like to say all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKadash. And what I want to speak on is about the Sabbath day. Earlier today I was having a conversation with someone and they was telling me that when Christ was sent into this world, he was sent into this world to do away with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And when he was crucified, that the laws, statutes, and commandments was done away with and we were given grace, and that we're not able to keep the laws anymore. So basically he was saying that we don't have to keep the laws anymore, being that we're under grace. We can just live freely, do whatever we want to do, and cast the laws behind us, and the Most High is going to forgive us for all of our sins. And there was a couple of biblical verses that I wanted to bring out to him, because he claimed he was in a rush. He didn't really have time to listen to the scriptures. So I was like, well, if you're going to say something like that, you could at least listen to two verses to let you, to prove to you that these laws are still here, right? But, you got some people, they like to spread their false doctrine, and they like to go off their own vain opinion and spread all of this false doctrine all around and then have other people going off. But when you run into someone like me who knows the laws, statutes, and commandments are not done away with, and actually know the biblical verses that you can go to, then they want to run, right? So I made this video, to bring out the same scriptures that I was going to give to him, to let y'all know that these laws, statutes, and commandments, they still stand today. No matter what you feel or no matter what you think or what you've been taught, these laws are still here, and these are commandments that we have to abide by, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're still here and earth is still here, the commandments are still here. This is something that we have to do. This is something that we commanded to do by the Most High himself, right? So I'm going to jump right into it. And the first one I'm going to go to, in which I was going to give him, is the book of St. John, chapter 8. And I'm going to start at verse 31. Okay? All right, so this is the book of St. John, chapter 38, verse 31. Then said Jesus to the Jews which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. Right? So when Christ was sent into this world, he was sent by the Most High to reinstill the laws, statutes, and commandments back into our ancestors, which was a sinful nation, right? And he was letting the disciples know, if you continue in this word, which is the word of the Most High, which is the laws, statutes, and commandments, you are my disciples indeed. Meaning you are true followers of me, and you're true believers in the Most High, right? Verse 32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Shall make you free, right? So that's another biblical verse that our people get misconstrued, right? A lot of us, we go around saying, and the truth shall set you free. That's not what the Bible says right here. Now, in other versions of the Bible, maybe like the NIV or maybe the New King James Version, the English Standard Version, or the American Standard Version, what have you, it may say that the truth shall set you free. But right here in the Bible that I'm reading, which is the King James Version, the original version, it says the truth shall make you free, right? So if you know the truth of this Bible, which is the law, statutes, and commandments of God and the way to live, it's going to make you free. It's going to make you free from sin. You're no longer going to be a servant of sin, right? You're going to continue to live off your days in righteousness, which we all shall do, right? In verse 33, it says, they answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and we're never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? Jesus answered them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin. See, there it is in verse 34, as I was saying before. If you commit sin, then you're the servant of sin. You sin willfully. You don't care about keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of God. Right? So if you're a servant of sin, that's something that you're willingly doing, you're accustomed to it. And then more than likely you're going to encourage or entice someone else to sin, which you shouldn't do. Because the blood is going to be on your hands according to the book of Ezekiel. So if you're a righteous person, you're supposed to encourage people to do righteousness instead of sinning, you know. Verse 35, and the servant abideth not in the house forever, but the son abideth forever. So that's Yahushua. He's letting you know there that we're in the flesh. We're not going to be here forever. We're given a certain amount of years in earth, and one day we're going to pass away. We're all going to pass away. But Yahushua, he's going to be here forever. He was here during the beginning, and he's going to be the last, right? So Yahushua is going to be here forever. Verse 36, if the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed, right? So being that Yahushua, he was given dominion over everything from the Most High, it's up to him to make us free. You know what I'm saying? So if we're following Yahushua and believing in Yahweh, keeping the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh, then Yahushua, which is our mediator, he's going to make us free. You know? And there's no one can take that away from you. He's going to be the one that's crowning the saints when it's all said and done, right? So he says, he shall make you free indeed, right? So I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 1. This is the very first book of the Bible, too. Genesis chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, in the beginning, God, Yahweh, created the earth and the heaven. Salakia, in the beginning, God, Yahweh, created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God, Yahweh, moved upon the face of the waters. So that's letting you know, of course, the Most High, he created everything. He created the heavens and the earth, and he the ones that gave us the law, statutes, commandments to keep, right? So I'm going to go to chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. And this right here is about the Sabbath, right? And it reads, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, which he had made, and rested on the seventh day from all his work, which he had made, right? So this is letting you know that the Most High himself, he rested on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath day. So this is a commandment from him himself, and he kept it his own self. So if this was a commandment from him for us to keep, in which he kept himself, and he's the creator of everything, then shouldn't you think that that's something that we should keep too? It says it right here. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God Yahweh blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God Yahweh created and made. So he blessed the seventh day, which is the Sabbath day, and he sanctified it. So that's something that's holy. He sanctified it. He sectioned it off from all of the other days of the week. This, as the scriptures say, 7 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath day, thou shalt rest. Right? So he sanctified that day. Right? And these are the same scriptures that I was going to tell him. But you have the wicked, you know what I'm saying? They want to spread their false doctrine or whatever. And then when you want to debunk what they said, oh, I got to run. I'm in a rush. I got to do this and got to do that. I said, all right, whatever. you know. So, that's the reason why I decided to make this video here. So the next one I'm going to go to is Exodus chapter 20. And I know a lot of you brothers and sisters in the truth, y'all know about this right here. This is basically the 10 Commandments right here. It's in the book of Exodus, right? Chapter 20, right? Okay, and it reads, And God Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, right? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt make, Slakia, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So that's the Most High. He's letting his chosen people know, you know, he the one that brought us out of bondage when we were in Egypt. Egypt is just Greek for the word bondage, meaning slavery. So the Most High is letting his chosen people know that he the one that pretty much brung them out of slavery, right, from Egypt. Verse 5, Thou shalt not bow down, Slakia, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. Right? So iniquity is sin. Sin is the transgression of the law according to the scriptures, right? So the Most High is letting his people know that, if you're not going to keep my laws, statutes, commandments, I'm going to visit you all the way down into your third and fourth generation of your seed. So that means your great, 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 great grandkids is going to get punished by the Most High for not keeping his laws, statutes, commandments, right? Just like it says in verse 3, Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. So being that some of our people, we go around saying that the laws are done away with, and we don't have to keep the laws of God anymore, and that we're under grace and we can do whatever we want to do, that's basically like them serving other gods, right? Because nowhere in the scripture does it says that we don't have to keep the laws anymore. So if we're following after some doctrine that says that the laws are done away with and we can do whatever we want to do, and the Most High is going to forgive us for it in the last day, that's basically them following after another God. You know what I'm saying? Because the God of this Bible didn't tell you to do that. So obviously it was another God that told you to do that. You know? Right? So verse 7, Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain, right? So you're not supposed to take the Most High's name in vain, And that's what most of our people are doing nowadays. By going around saying that the laws are done away with. We don't have to keep it no more. We can do whatever we want to do because we're under grace. And if you look up the proper meaning of vain, as a matter of fact, let me get that for you real quick. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Right? If you look up the meaning of vain, it'll let you know. That's something that we surely shouldn't be doing and enticing other people to do it too. Right? By basically telling them that, we're in free will. We can do whatever we want. The laws are done away with. We're not going to be punished for it. And then the next thing here it is right here. Right? The definition of vain. Just so that we can have a clear understanding of it. having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance or abilities or worth, right? Second meaning, producing no results, useless. Wow. So right there in the second meaning, it's letting you know you're trying to say that the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High is useless. If we're keeping them, it's not going to be to our benefit, and that's taking the Most High's name in vain, man. You can't go around teaching people that the laws, statutes, and commandments are done away with, especially to the ones that don't know the law. If they don't know the Bible, they're going to believe what you say, and that's going to further their lives more in sin. You know what I'm saying? And then the blood is going to be on your hands. If they die in their iniquity, the Most High is going to hold you accountable for that, right? So, you can't take the Most High's name in vain, and say that his laws are done away with. And then it also says here, producing no result. So that means that you're not going to receive blessings from keeping those laws. And the Most High says it in the book of Deuteronomy 28, from verse 4, Salakia, from verse 1 to 14, he tells you all of the blessings that he's going to give you for keeping his laws, statutes, commandments. So you can't say, in the definition of vain, it says here in the second meaning, you know, it doesn't produce any results, because he let you know all of the blessings that he's going to give you. Right? So I just wanted to bring that out, the definition of vain, so we can have a clear understanding of what we're speaking about here, right? In verse 8, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day, which is the Sabbath day of the Lord thy God, in it thou shalt do any work. So it's letting you know there. On the Sabbath day, you can't be out here doing whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Now, some people, they may look at this and say, oh, that's the Old Testament. That's done away. Just basically like he was saying, it's the Old Testament. All of that stuff is done away with. We don't have to do that stuff no more. But this is coming from the Most High himself, right? And then, I got some other verses that's going to prove to you in the New Testament that these laws, they still stand today, right? And I'm going to read it again. But in the seventh day is the Sabbath day of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, meaning he made it holy when he hallowed it, right? So that's another clean cut there for you. He's letting you know he holy, he sanctified, just like the book of Genesis said, he sanctified the Sabbath day and he rested on it. And right here in the book of Exodus, which is the Ten Commandments, he's letting his chosen people know that we are to keep the Sabbath and we're not supposed to do anything on it. So, meaning, you're not supposed to be out there working. You're not supposed to have, if your kids are old enough, you're not supposed to have them out there working on their jobs, or you're not supposed to be working on your car or driving somewhere. That's not what you're supposed to be doing on the Sabbath day. Now, you have 6 days of the week to do that, which it says right here. 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, in which he was working. And then he said in 6 days we're able to work. But on the seventh day, we should sanctify it and make it holy. And devote ourselves to him. Right? So the next one I want to go to is chapter 16 in Exodus, verse 29. Yeah, these are the same scriptures that I was going to let him know. And probably if he would have stayed to listen to them, he probably would have hearkened to them. You know what I mean? But, some people, they, you know, just like I said, they want to spread their little false opinion and they vain philosophy. And then when they're challenged, then they have to run, right? All right, so this is the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verse 29. See for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath day, right? So the people rested on the 7th day. See? It says, and the people rested on the 7th day. It didn't say the people worked on the 7th day, or the people worked on their cars on the 7th day, or the people, they drove somewhere and took a little vacation on the 7th day. He said they rested on the 7th day, right? Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So he's letting you know, you got to sanctify that day, make it holy, and you got to devote your lives to him on the 7th day. Even if you're just resting, watching TV, but he would prefer you, to be in the scriptures, to know more about the law, statutes, and commandments and all, but it's mainly a rest day. You just sit back and you relax and you rest, you know, and preferably get into the scriptures, so you can know more about the Bible, right? So the next one I'm gonna go to is Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, and I'm gonna start at verse 14, right? And it reads, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. Right? So the Most High is letting his people know that, you got to follow these commandments. And it says it right here, which I command thee this day. So you can't go aside from these laws here. No matter if you think it's the year 2020 or whatever, this Bible still stands. This word is true. And he's letting you know right here, straight in plain letters, you can't go aside. You can't go to the right hand or the left or to serve other gods. So if you're going around telling people that the laws are done away with and we free to do whatever we want, do as thou wilt, spirit, then you serving another God and you spreading false doctrine. You know, the next one I want to go to is chapter 30, and I'm going to start at verse 8. And it reads, and thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. So he's letting you know this day. And that's letting you know that this Bible is timeless. So, you can say, oh, it's an old book and, we're not living in the biblical days anymore. This right here is letting you know this day. So you could be looking at this book in the year 2030. This day means this day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else it means. And then he's letting you know. And to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, Salakia, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. Right? So that goes back to taking the Most High's name in vain, right? If you go back to it, just like the meaning shows, it shows producing no results, useless, right? So right here in chapter 30, in verse 9, it says here, God will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. So right here, how can you take his name out of vain and says it's producing no results when the Most High himself said he will bless you in all thy work? So, you can't go around here spreading false doctrine saying that we don't have to keep these laws, or keeping his laws is unfruitful and doesn't produce anything good, or you won't get blessings from it. Then you calling the Most High a liar. You can't do that, right? For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy father. So he's letting you know the ones, our ancestors that have kept the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High, him and the angels of heaven, they was rejoicing over that. They commended those guys for that. Verse 10, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, you know, and that's the original name of this book. It's the book of the law, you know, but it's called the Bible now. And if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So he's letting you know, if you keep my laws, statutes, commandments, he's going to bless you, with the work of your hand, the fruit of your body, the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, if thou shalt hearken unto my voice, the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which is written in his book. So you're only going to get blessed if you keep in his laws, statutes, commandments. He's letting you know right there. And if you're not, then I mean, hey, it's your life, right? But me personally, I'm going to encourage you to keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, so you can get blessed, and I can get blessed too for letting you know that, right? So the next one I'm going to go to is 2 Samuel chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 31. 2 Samuel chapter 22. Okay, here we go. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 31. And it reads, as for God, his ways is perfect. The word of the Lord is tried. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him. Right? For who is God save, which means except the Lord? And who is a rock save our God? God is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect. Now that's also a clean cut for people who say, oh, no one's perfect, no one can be perfect, no one in this world is perfect. But this is in 2 Samuel, the Most High is letting you know here that his way is perfect. And his way is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? Now, still, this, like I said before, we're in the flesh and we're prone to sin. So everyone is not going to be 100% perfect. But he's letting you know that his laws, statutes, and commandments are perfect. And if you're striving to keep them, you're striving to be perfect. You're striving to be favorable in his eyes. God is my strength and power, and he maketh my way perfect. He maketh my feet like hinds' feet, and sitteth me upon high places. So that's the blessings. You know, if you keep in his law, statutes, commandments, he's going to sit you in high places. He's just going to overflow you with blessings, and who knows, you're going to be overwhelmed. So the next one I'm going to go to is verse 26. I'm going to start at verse 26, and I'm going to go to 29. With the merciful, thou wilt shew thyself merciful, and with the upright man, thou wilt shew thyself upright. So he's letting you know, if you're upright and you're righteous and you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, he's going to have mercy on you. You know, if you're a righteous person and you're really trying to keep these laws in this sinful world, he's going to show mercy upon you, and he's going to keep you out of trouble. He's going to keep you out of harm's way. Verse 27, with the pure thou wilt shew thyself pure, and with the forward, that's not forward, that's forward, that's like the proud at heart, right? Thou shalt shew thyself unsavory. So, you got a lot of proud people out here, just like the brother I was dealing with earlier today. He didn't want to hear these biblical verses because I was going to cut him. He was proud at heart. He didn't want to listen. He want to still go off his own vain thoughts. So the Most High is going to shew himself unsavory to him, right? And it's going to be when he least expected too. Unfortunately for him, right? Verse 28, and the afflicted people thou wilt save, which is us. We're the ones that's keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High in this sinful world. There's no exhortation on keeping the Most High's laws anymore. Everyone's in sin. Everyone in this do is thou wilt spirit. So basically we're afflicted because we see all of the sins going on in the world, and it bothers us. You know what I'm saying? To see such people in darkness. You know what I'm saying? But then again, they call themselves followers of Christ and believers in God, but they don't do anything he says. So when you have people like us brothers and sisters in the truth, we're really keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And these people out here claiming to be true believers and followers of Christ, and they just have the zeal, but they're not actually doing the work. That actually sort of afflict us in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because in the scriptures it says, have no associations with people that's unevenly yoked. You know what I'm saying? So some of these people you may know, but they're not as righteous as you. And then, sometime, one time or another, they're going to try to entice you to sin, to go off of these laws, and that will afflict you. You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's what it's saying right here. And the afflicted people that thou wilt save, but thine eyes are upon the haughty, which is the proud again. You know, that thou mayest bring them down. So those are the proud people. Their minds is hard headed. They're stiff necked. They're backsliding. The Most High is going to humble them. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, let me give you the meaning of haughty. For the ones that may not clearly understand what that means, right? I'm going to give you the meaning of haughty. Real quick. Okay, here we go. All right, haughty. Arrogantly superior and disdainful, right? What does being haughty mean? Someone who is haughty is arrogant and full of pride. Just like I said, it's a prideful person. And the Most High hates pride. Actually, according to the scriptures, pride is one of the seven deadly sins, right? In the book of Proverbs. When you're haughty, you have a big attitude and act like you're better than the other people. A haughty person acts superior and looks down on others, right? The Most High hates that. He despises people with that, because the Most High, he works with the meek and the humble and lowly at heart, right? So if you're a proud person, you know, just like the person I was dealing with, he didn't want to hear the scriptures or whatever, talking about he was in a rush. He was a proudful person. You know what I'm saying? So you can't go around telling someone, oh, you don't have to keep the laws anymore. And then when you're challenged on that, oh, I gotta go. I can't, I gotta run here. I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's a haughty person, man. A haughty person acts superior and looks down on others. Haughty people are disdainful, overbearing, prideful, swaggering, and obnoxious. Right? So that's the meaning of haughty, man. And if you call yourself a true follower of Christ and a believer of a Most High, that's one thing you can't be. You know? So, verse 29 it says, "For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness." So, that's letting you know there that the Most High is the lamp. And following the Most High, if you believe in the Most High, you believe in keeping His laws, statutes, commandments, and that's the light. And when you have that light of the law, statutes, commandments, you will be out of the darkness, right? It says, "Lord will lighten my darkness." So you would no longer be in darkness if you're keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, which are most people are in today. A lot of our people is walking in darkness, man, and they don't even know it. Because they're in this "do as thou wilt" spirit. They believe all of the laws are done away with. That's what they've been taught all their lives. And that's actually detrimental to them, right? So I'm going to go to verse 22 to 24 in the same chapter in 2nd Samuel, right? 2nd Samuel chapter 22, verse 22 to 24. And it reads, "For I have kept the ways of the Lord Yahweh, and have not wickedly departed from my God Yahweh. For all his judgments were before me, and as for his statutes, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, I did not depart from them. I was also upright before him." That means I was a righteous person before the Most High. "And have kept myself from iniquity," which is sin, right? Iniquity is sin. Sin is transgression of the law, according to the Bible, right? So, yeah, that's letting you know there. We got to live righteously before the Most High. He sees everything. He knows all, sees all, and he's everywhere. So you can't get away without keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments and expect him to bless you and forgive you for your sins. That's like with the guy, he's going around telling people that we don't have to keep the laws anymore. I'm pretty sure he told plenty of other people that. The Most High sees that, and he's not going to be forgiven for that unless he repent, and his sins will be blotted out, as the scriptures say. But I mean, hey, maybe he will, maybe he won't. Hopefully that he does. So the next one I'm going to go to is Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. Okay. The book of Nehemiah chapter 10, and I'm going to start at verse 31. And it reads, "And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day." Right? So that's letting you know that the Sabbath is the holy day. These is the Israelites. All of the other nations, they like to come into Jerusalem and they like to entice the Israelites to sin by getting them to buy on the Sabbath day. And that was against the laws of the Most High, right? That we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath day or on the holy day. And that we would leave seventh year, Salakia, we would leave the seventh year and the exaction of every debt, right? And that's another law that America don't keeps. Every 7 years, you're supposed to leave a person of that debt if they're unable to pay it, right? But, of course, America, they claim to follow God and, and keep his ways. But this is one law they definitely don't keep right here, right? So you probably heard somebody say that before, like every 7 years, you're supposed to be relieved of debt of what you owe, like a bank or a credit card or whatever, or a hospital bill. You probably heard that before from someone. So they actually got this from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of people that's running around here talking about the laws are done away with, but then again, they want to bring stuff up like that. Oh, every 7 years, they supposed to relieve you of debt. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a commandment that America's supposed to give, but you're going around telling people, oh, the laws are done away with. We don't have to keep the law anymore, right? Foolish, man. Verse 32. Also, we made ordinances for us to charge ourselves yearly with the third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, Yahweh, for the shewbread, and for the continual meat offering, and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings to make an atonement for Israel. That means, to ask the Most High for your forgiveness. If you've been sinning, if you happen to go off of keeping the law, statutes, commandments, just like I said, we're all in the flesh every now and then. We're going to go off a little something, but, you know, we're supposed to strive to keep these laws. So, as it reads, and for the sin offerings to make an atonement for Israel and for all the work of the house of our God. Right? So it says it right here. And for the continued burnt offerings of the Sabbath. So, that lets you know that most of the Israelites back in the day, the chosen people of the Most High, they strive to keep the Sabbath day. You know, that's something. And then, as it says here, and for the sin offerings to make an atonement. So that's letting you know that, you had a few people that was in Israel that went off, and, that's the reason why we have the atonement, right? So that's letting you know back then, even Israel, you had a couple of people that was going off, but, they still strive to keep the Sabbath. They still strive to keep the law, statutes, the commandments of the Most High in all of the high holy days, right? So I'm going to go to chapter 1, which is in Nehemiah 2, chapter 1, verse 7 to 9 in the book of Nehemiah. Okay, here we go. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verses 7 to 9. We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments, which thou commandest thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou commandest thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. Right? So who that sound like? There's a certain group of people in this world that have been scattered all over the world amongst the nations. Right? They went into slavery. They're still in captivity to this day. You know, the Most High's chosen people, they're not in their chosen land. They're all in the places where they were scattered. Right? So that sounds like a certain people, right? And it's letting you know here that they've dealt corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments, which thou commandest thy servant Moses. So it's letting you know that the commandments was given from the Most High to Moses, which was the Ten Commandments, which is it's way more commandments than that. But just the governing all the commandments, it was the Ten Commandments that was on the tablets, right? At least that's what's being shown. So those are the laws that we're supposed to keep. right? And if we didn't, it says here, I will scatter you abroad among the nations. So that's where that people is at right now. They're scattered among the nations. Ain't none of them in their homeland right now because they didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? So the next one I'm going to go to is Isaiah chapter 58. And I'm going to start at verse 13. Hopefully y'all still following along with your Bibles. And if you are, I mean, you're seeing the proof right here. I mean, this can't be denied here. If you choose to ignore it, then, I mean, that's on you. But the proof is right here in the scriptures, right? So in the book of Isaiah chapter 58, I'm going to start at verse 13. And it's about the Sabbath. If thou turn away thy foot from keeping the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, that means that's a sanctified day. Just like it says in the book of Genesis, he sanctified it and he hallowed it, right? It's different from all of the days of the week. So you can't go around saying, oh, I'm going to serve God on every day. Every day you're supposed to serve God. Every day is a holy day. Which is it now? Don't get me wrong. You're supposed to serve God on every day. That's true. But there's a specific day that he sanctified, right? And that we supposed to keep holy from all of the other days. Because if you want to say that you're going to serve the Most High every day, but you still doing everything else every day, then how you going to have a sanctified day? You got to sanction a day off so that you can fully devote yourself to the Most High or rest, right? From doing thy pleasure on my holy day and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Salakia, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thy own ways. So it's letting you know right here, you got to sanctify that day and devote yourself to the Most High, right? You can't call that day a delight in doing whatever you want to do. You can't be out here, going to a restaurant or shopping, spending money, you know what I'm saying, or working on your car or whatever. You can't do that. You can't call the Sabbath day a delight. It's supposed to be a day that you sanctify and hallow onto yourself to devote yourself to the Most High to keep his laws, statutes, commandments, right? Doing thy own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words. So that means you're not even really supposed to be talking about anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like if like say somebody call you up on a Sabbath day and they want to speak about something like I don't know, maybe a basketball game or whatever, a football game or money. How much money they made last week on their job from all of the overtime they did, or how shiny they rims look from putting this new polish on it or whatever. You're not supposed to be doing that on that day, which is the Sabbath day. You're supposed to be talking about nothing but the works of Yahweh, about Hashem Yahweh Shai, right? And if you do that, you're going to defile it. You know, verse 14. Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob, thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. Right? So that's the Most High himself letting you know. If you keep that day holy, sanctify it, devote yourself to the Most High, then he's going to bless you. He's going to cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the Lord has spoken it. Right? So he's giving you assurance right there that he's going to bless you if you keep the Sabbath. So you can't go around here defiling the Sabbath, doing whatever you want to do, and enticing other people to do the same thing that you're doing, which is breaking the Sabbath. If anything, you got to encourage people to keep the Sabbath. Even if you're not keeping it, you still got to encourage people to keep the Sabbath. Because if you enticing them to sin, which is to defile the Sabbath, and something happens to them, then the blood is on your hand, right? So I'm going to go to the book of St. Luke, chapter 23, and I'm going to start at verse 50. And I'm only going to get a few more scriptures. I ain't going to try to make this too long. But this is basically some of the scriptures, just like I said, I was going to give to the guy so he can research it himself, Because I was going to try to talk his ears off and like that, but I just wanted to show him, to prove to him that, there's nowhere in the Bible does it says that, we don't have to keep the Sabbath day. You know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe he had something on his mind. Maybe he wanted to do something that night. He probably wanted to hook up with some girl or whatever, or go hang out, go to a club, or he wanted to do something. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't want to cancel that or be judged for that, so to speak. So he had to make up his own little vain opinion about the Sabbath. But it's all good. All right. So this is the book of St. Luke, chapter 23, verse 50. Right. And don't get me wrong. You know, just as the scriptures say, where there's no law, there's no sin. So I'm not saying that, you live out the rest of your days as a prude or something, I mean, you can basically still do whatever you want, but you still have to keep the laws of the Most High in your mind. You still have to strive to live in righteousness on top of, still living your life. You know what I'm saying? Life is a gift. It's a beautiful thing. It's what the Most High gave us. So, of course he wants us to live our lives, but on top of that, we still have to put him first and keep these laws, right? So I'm going to start at verse 50, right? This is about when Yahushua was buried. And behold, there was a man named Joseph, a counselor, and he was a good man and a just, meaning just, he kept the law, statutes, and commandments. He was a righteous man, right? The same had not consented to the counsel and deed of them. That means like the ways of the world. He didn't consent to the counsel of King Herod. He believed in the Most High and he believed in keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So he didn't consent to their counsel, right? He was of Amathea, a city of the Jews, who also himself waited for the kingdom of Yahweh. See, he was a patient man. He believed in the Most High. He believed in keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and he waited. He was enduring, so to speak, for the kingdom of the Most High. He was determined. He was striving for that kingdom, which we all should be doing, right? Verse 52. This man went to Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua, right? So he basically was begging Pilate to, give him the body of Yahushua, I guess, and it's going to let you know what he wanted to do. And he took it down and wrapped it in linen and laid it in a sculpture that was hewn in stone, wherein never a man before was laid. And the day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on, Salakia. And the women also which came with him from Galilee followed after and beheld the sculpture and how his body was laid. Right? Verse 56. And they returned, here we go, and prepared spices and ointments and rested the Sabbath day according to the commandment. The commandment of who? The Most High. And this is in the New Testament right here in St. Luke. Right? So how can you go around saying, oh, that's the Old Testament, that's the biblical days, we're not supposed to be keeping the laws anymore, we're under grace? Well, it's right here in St. Luke, which is the New Testament, in verse 56. And they returned and prepared spices and ointments. That means on the sixth day, they was preparing the things, because you're supposed to get double on the sixth day, so you'll be okay for the Sabbath because you can't leave your habitat, right? And rested on the Sabbath day according to the commandment of the Most High, right? So, wow, hey, it's plain right there, man, right? And I'm gonna give you a little bit of Paul. We're gonna go to Romans, right? You want to stay in the New Testament? We're gonna go to the book of Romans, right? Chapter 3. I'm gonna give y'all about maybe, I don't know, maybe three more. I'm gonna give about three more because I want to drive this point home. And I got that guy's number. We exchanged numbers too, so I may send him this video. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't able to bring it out to him then, but hey, all of these scriptures here that I was gonna give him, I'm talking about it in this video, so I just might send him this video here, right? All right, here we go. Romans chapter 3, verse 30. I'm gonna start it, and it reads, "Seeing it is one God, Yahweh, which shall justify the circumcision by faith and the uncircumcision through faith." That means, with the circumcision, which is his chosen people, if we have faith in the Most High and we're following Yahushai, then we're doing it by faith. We're doing the works, right? And the uncircumcision, which is the other people that's not of the Most High's chosen people, he's going to try them through faith. He's going to justify them through faith, right? So that means they got to be doing the works too. No matter if you're of the Most High's chosen people, you still have to keep these commandments. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High, he's the Most High of all. Even though most people in this world, or other people, I should say, a lot of people, they off into some weird shit, man. They worshiping other gods, Allah, Buddha, Santa Maria, the Three Kings, Amun Ra. I mean, you name it, man. They off into witchcraft too. They have the Luciferian religion now, the Satanists, the atheists. I mean, you got some people out here in some crazy shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what would be the uncircumcised, right? So if they repent of their sins and they come back to worshiping the Most High, which is the one true God, and following Yahweh Shai, they're going to be justified through their faith, right? So here it goes, 31. This is the banger. "Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. We establish the law." Bam. We establish the law. So Paul's letting you know right here. We don't forbid the law. You can't go around saying, "Oh, that law is done away with." He's letting you know we should establish the law, meaning we should go around teaching these laws, statutes, commandments, and enticing people to do the same and keep the laws of the Most High. Right? New Testament, baby. New Testament, right? So I'm gonna go to Romans chapter 8, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. Yeah, we're gonna keep it in the New Testament, and this is Paul too. This is the prophet the apostle that everyone loves to run to. When they want to try to say, "Oh, the laws are done away with, we don't have to keep it." See, it says it in Paul's letters. The law is done away with, but a lot of them they're reading without understanding. You got to link precepts and line upon line. You got to read the Old Testament. You got to see what certain words mean. You know, you got to do all of that, man. You just can't jump to Paul's letters and expect, his word is over the Most High. Because you got to remember, Paul was a servant of the Most High, and he was a follower of Christ. He was a firm believer in Christ. You know, so why would he teach that the laws are done away with? I mean, that just don't make no sense, right? If you were a candid believer in the Most High and a follower of Christ, why would you go around teaching people that the laws are done away with? You know. All right, so here we go. Romans chapter 8, and I'm going to start at verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. Right? So if you're a fleshly person, if you're carnal minded, that's what you're going to do, just like that guy did. Right? Somebody's calling me. Right? So you're going to do exactly what that guy did and go around spreading your false doctrine about the laws are done away with, and we can live a do as thou wilt spirit and do whatever we want to do. You know, if we want to cook, if we want to go out and buy stuff and go shopping and go get a car wash or even go buy a car or work overtime, then you're a person of the flesh. You're not dwelling in the spirit, man. You know, verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So if you're carnally minded, you're gonna die in your iniquity, man. You know, if you're not keeping the laws of the Most High, you know, and just to give you a few, you know, it says, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet." Right? Just to give you a few. Now, if you're committing adultery, that means you're coveting, which is the 10th commandment, someone's wife, or you may be a woman coveting someone's man. So, what you think what you think is going to happen to you? You know, if you're an adulterer and you're coveting the man's wife, and if you happen to go see that man's wife when he's at work or whatever, and you may think that he's getting off late, and all of a sudden he wound up getting up early and catch you in that house, what you think was going to happen to you? Especially if he's one of those crazy brothers, you know, he's crazy over his women, and he's the type that don't even like another dude looking at his girl without him getting crazy. What you think he's going to do? You know what I'm saying? It's like the scriptures say. For to be carnally minded is death, right? So if you're carnally minded, you're not keeping the laws of the Most High, which means you will be an adulterer, more than likely, right? Or a coveter, you know, or a thief. You know what I'm saying? Somebody catch you stealing a shit, it's a wrap. You know, you liable to get shot, beat over the head with a bat, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Which can kill you, just like the scriptures say, right? Carnally minded is death. But to be spiritually minded, which is keeping the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, is life and peace, which means it will prolong your days on earth. You know what I'm saying? So if you're keeping these laws, you're gonna remain favorable to the Most High, and He's gonna give you life. He's gonna preserve you. He's gonna keep you from all of these things, man. Right? Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh God, neither indeed can be. So if you're a carnal mind, you know, you at enmity against the Most High. That means you're an enemy of the Most High. So that means you actually go around enticing people not to keep these laws, you know, and that's walking in the light. So if you're walking in the dark, you're going around telling people not to keep these laws, and then you're trying to pull somebody else into the dark with you by telling them not to keep these laws. And just as the old saying goes, right, misery loves company. So you're a miserable person, man. If you're a carnal person, most likely things ain't going your way because the Most High ain't blessing you because you're not keeping His laws. And then you're trying to drag somebody else down with you by telling them not to keep the laws. That's a effed up individual, man. You know what I'm saying? Verse 8. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God. There you have it. So if you're a carnally minded person, if you're a prideful person, and a person that's going around telling people they shouldn't keep the Most High's laws, then you can't please. You're not a God pleaser. So you can't say, "Oh, I love God and I believe in God and I follow Christ," but you're going around telling people that the laws are done away with. You're not a pleaser of God. If you're a true pleaser of God, you'll be telling people to keep the laws, right? So that exposed how hypocritical our people are, man. Some of our people, you know. But, that's why we out here, right? Got to instill these laws back into our people, man. Because a lot of us, a lot of our people walking around in sin and they don't even know it. And the reason why they don't know it, because they don't know the laws. Because they've been taught that the laws have been done away with. So, and then, a lot of preachers, they tell people, don't read the Old Testament because the laws are done away with. Just read the New Testament. So a lot of our people don't read the Old Testament. We just go straight to Paul's letters and that's it. They don't even, as a matter of fact, that's probably the only thing they read in the New Testament. Just Paul's letters. They don't read James. They don't read John. They don't read Jude. They probably read a little bit of Revelation, but only the good stuff out of the Revelation. They don't read the prophetical stuff out of Revelation, you know. And then if they go to the Old Testament, it's only Proverbs and Psalms. They might read a little bit of Ecclesiastes, and they'll probably read a little bit of Genesis, just to see who created the world and everything else. And that's about it. They don't read, the prophetical things, man, and the laws and the statutes, commandments, and all of that. That's why a lot of our people is lost out here. You know, I'm gonna go to the book of Saint James, chapter 2, verse 14. Okay, here we go. The book of St. James, chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 14. What doth it profit, my brethren, through Salakia, though a man say he have faith and have not works, which is the law, statutes, commandments, can faith save him? So James is telling you, if you're not showing the Most High that you're faithful in Him by keeping His laws, but you're saying, "Oh, I believe in God, I believe in God," how is that going to save you? You're not showing any works at all. That's like you having a girlfriend and you're telling her, "Oh, I love you, baby," but you're not doing anything to show it. You know what I'm saying? How crazy does that look? You know, for your carnal holidays come around, like say Christmas, Valentine's Day, or whatever. Her birthday, and you're constantly telling her, "Hey, I love you." You're my number one girl. You're my wife. I love you to death, but you're not doing anything to prove it. You don't buy her anything. You don't take her out to eat. You don't cook her no food. You don't rub her back or feed her anything like that. So how she's going to believe that you love her? The same thing, the same thing with the Most High. You can't say, "Oh, I love God and I believe in God," but you're not doing any works to prove it to him. So that's what James is explaining here. He's saying, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, and be warm and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit?" James letting you know straight. You know what I'm saying? If you got somebody coming to you and they saying, "Hey, I need a little bit of food. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Can I borrow a spare dollar or two or whatever, $5?" And then you tell that brother, "I don't have the money on me, but just go away and I'll see you tomorrow. But you're going to be filled for the night. Even though you're feeling hungry now, but I don't have no money to give you. But go along your way, and you're going to be filled." That sounds even crazy of me saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit don't makes no sense. I mean, Salakia for my language and all, but I mean, come on now. He's letting you know, you know, if a person have works, but they're not doing any, if they have faith and they're not doing any works, then how can they say they're a true believer? If you're not proving anything, right? So he's letting you know, you can't tell that person if they're in need of food and if they're cold, and you have the things to give them, but you choose not to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can give them food or you can give them a coat, but you want to be spiteful and say, oh, no, I don't have it. But, you're going to be warm still, and your belly is going to feel like it's full, even though I haven't gave you any food or any money to get that food. But sooner or later, your belly going to feel like it's full and you're not going to need food. Or you're going to be warm even though you don't have a coat and it's freezing outside. But, later on, you're going to be warm. That's basically what James saying. He's like, it's foolish to have faith in no works, right? So verse 17 says, even so faith, have it not works, is dead, being alone. Yeah, a man say that thou have faith, Salakia, that thou have faith, and I have works. Shew me thy faith without works, and I will shew thee my faith by my works. Bow. Wow, that's a straight hitter right there. That's a straight shot. You know what I'm saying? So James is letting you know, show me your faith in Yahweh by saying, oh, I have faith. I believe in God. I have faith in God, but you ain't doing anything to show him that you have faith in him. And James is saying, hey, I'll show you my faith by my works, by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I'm going to go around and I'm going to spread the gospel. I'm going to entice people to keep these laws of God. I'm not going to tell them that the law, statutes, and commandments are done away with, that we should keep the Sabbath, that we have a dietary law that we're supposed to be following. Those are the works of the Most High. That's me showing my faith to the Most High that I truly believe in Him and that He will bless me for keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. Right? I mean, yo, that's a clear hit, man. If I would have told that to that guy, and this is the New Testament, there's really nothing he can say after that. I mean, I gave you a little bit of Paul and James letting you know that the laws aren't done away with, right? And Paul is the main apostle that they run to when they want to remain in sin, right? Which is funny to me, but I mean, hey, that's our folks, though, man. All right, I'm gonna give you two more, and it's still in the New Testament. This is the book of First John, chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 21. I mean, I know I said I was gonna keep this short, but when you're in the spirit, you got to keep this going, right? Got to keep it going. All right, verse 21, and it reads, Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, Salakia, have we confidence towards God, Yahweh, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments, right? So, how you expect the Most High to bless you, and you're not keeping his commandments? John right here says, whatever we ask of Yahweh, we should receive of him, because we keep his commandments, right? He didn't say, oh, because we have a do as thou wilt spirit, or the laws are done away with, so we live by grace, so we can do whatever we want, and then the Most High will still give us what we ask of him. He said, we receive of him because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight, right? And this is his commandment, which is Yahushai, that we love, Salakia, that we should believe on the name of his son, Jesus Christ, which is Yeshua HaMashiach, but the world calls him Jesus Christ, right? And love one another as he gave us commandment. Now, when Yahushai was sent into this world, he was sent to instill the laws, statutes, commandments of the Heavenly Father back into a sinful nation. But his commandment for us was to love one another, right? Because he know how we were as a people. We were wicked, man. I mean, we was killing one. We basically wasn't keeping the commandments of the Most High. We was into adultery, idolatry. We was killing one another, stealing from one another. Sleeping with the next man's wife and husband. We was taking the Most High's name in vain. I mean, all of the commandments. We was basically breaking them all, right? So he knew how we were. And he commanded us to love one another. Because, without love, you don't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? If you actually love someone, you're gonna practice those commandments with that person you love, right? So that's the reason why that's like the basis of everything. If you love someone, you're not gonna steal from them. You're not gonna sleep with his wife or sleep with their girlfriend. You definitely not gonna kill them. You're not gonna entice them to go after other gods. You know, if you may hear them taking the Most High's name in vain, you're gonna rebuke them and reprove them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the basis of the whole matter. If you love someone, you're not going to break the commandments with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Christ commanded us to do with each other, right? Verse 24. And he that keepeth his commandments, which is Yahweh, dwelleth in him. So that's the only way that you're going to live in Yahweh. That's the only way that you're going to prove that you truly have faith in the Most High, by keeping his commandments, right? Just as James said, I will prove to you my faith in Yahweh by my works, you know, and in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that he abideth with us by the Spirit which he have given us. Right? So that's the only way that people are going to know that you really believe in the Most High, because they see that you're letting your light shine amongst men. This, as the scriptures say, if you're keeping the law, statutes, commandments, people are going to see that. And they're going to know that you're a godly person and you're a holy person, because you're not doing what everyone else is doing. You're actually keeping the laws of the Most High. You're keeping the Sabbath while everyone else shopping, working, fixing their cars or whatever. They're going to see that you don't do those things on a Sabbath day. So they're going to know there's something special about you, right? So I'm going to make this the last one, and I'm going to end it in the book of Revelation, which is the last book of the Bible, by the way, right? And I got plenty of more scriptures. I mean, this is like a chip off the block of all of the scriptures that I have concerning the Sabbath. But these was just a few scriptures that I had, that I wanted to bring out to the guy. But, just like I said, he said he had to run because, he wanted to spread his little false doctrine and break out. But I was about to rebuke the hell out of him, boy. But, here it is. Just like I said, I got his number. He might be getting this video. So, we'll see. I'll think about it, you know. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 22, verse 14. Blessed are ye, Salakia, blessed are they that do his commandments. Right? The very first line there. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life, Salakia, and may enter in through the gates of the city. For without are dogs, people who just live life with no remorse, man. They just do whatever the hell they want to do. Do as thou wilt, right? Sorcerers, like the guy. You can say he's a low-key sorcerer. If he's going around saying that the laws are done away with, you're enticing people to sin, which is you're basically lying to them. You know what I mean? That's what sorcerers do, right? Whoremongers. They go whoring after other gods. They into idolatry. They worship in Amun Ra, Buddha, Santa Maria, the three kings. The fake image of Christ. You know what I'm saying? They atheists, don't believe in the Most High. I don't see how the hell you could be an atheist. Like, damn. I mean, you could just wake up every morning and see the sunrise and tell that there's a God out there. Just like it says in the book of Genesis, that he created everything. He created the heavens and the earth, the sun, moon, stars. I mean, what have you, everything in it. He created it all. So just from seeing the sun in the morning lets you know that there's a God. So how can you be an atheist, man? Anyway, murderers. Of course, you know what that is, a person who kills. Idolatrous, I already explained that, someone who worship other gods. And whosoever loveth and maketh a lie, right? Just like the guy, he loves and make a lie. Going around telling people, oh, the laws are done away with. We're under grace now, so we can do whatever we want. We can sin day in and day out, and the Most High is going to forgive us for it. We all going to make it to the kingdom of heaven, no matter what we do down here. I can sleep with your wife. You can sleep with my wife. We can exchange wives. We can worship Amun Ra. We can get a tattoo of the Egyptian Ankh, and we're still making it into heaven. you know, that's basically the type of dude he would be. You know what I'm saying? Right? Loveth and maketh a lie. That's crazy, man. And you got a lot of people out here doing that too. A lot of people doing it, because they're miserable. And just as I said before, misery loves company, right? So if they living in hell, of course they're going to try to drag you down to hell so you could be miserable right along with them, right? But you got to be smart enough, you know what I'm saying, to discern the difference between who's miserable and who's righteous. And the only way to do that is by keeping these laws, statutes, commandments of God, right? Because if you know the law, it exposes sin. You know what I'm saying? So when you see it, when you sense sin, you can rebuke it right off the bat because you know what sin is, right? I'm gonna jump down to verse 18. For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book, which is in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 15 to 68, right? That lets you know all of the plagues and all of the curses that the Most High will put on you for not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Which is in the Old Testament, which our people are told not to read. That's the reason why we don't know the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we're just piling sin on top of sin, knowingly and unknowingly, right? So those are the plagues that's going to be added onto you that's written in this book. Verse 19, and if any man shall take away from the words of this book, of this prophecy, God, the Most High, shall take away his part out of the book of life, right? Which is heaven. You know what I'm saying? If you're a spiritual person, you don't even really have to be a spiritual person to know what the book of life is. I mean, this is the scriptures. And the book of life is the book of the law that's going to be laid in front of you when you're in front of Yahweh in heaven, when you're getting judged, right? So, yeah, man. I mean, if you want to choose to live that type of life and be a sinful person, a carnal minded person, it's letting you know right here. God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city, which is heaven, and from the things which are written in this book, which is the Bible. Right? So there you have it, brothers and sisters. It's right there. It's plain. You know, if you're going around teaching people false doctrine, talking about the laws are done away with, and we can do as thou wilt, and worship other gods like Amun Ra and the Egyptian Ankh, you have all of that stuff tattooed on you. You worshiping the three kings, Buddha, you into Buddhism, witchcraft, out here casting spells on people. The Most High sees that, man. And that stuff is very real. A lot of people, they think that witchcraft is done away with. That stuff is very real, man. That stuff, a lot of people, and they're practicing it too. And you got some people out here, they would proudly admit to you that's what they practice. And they would tell you that they actually try to cast spells on people, which is wicked as hell, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, a lot of people, they into some weird shit out here nowadays, man. But this, as the Bible say, you will be taken out of the book of life, and you will not be included into the holy city. So you can't go around here calling yourself a true believer in the Most High, Yahweh, and a true follower of his son, Yahweh Shai, But you're out here piling sin on top of sin, talking about I'm in grace and I can do whatever I want until Judgment Day. I mean, you're sadly mistaken, just as plain as that, right? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this out. That's all I wanted to bring out to you guys, man. Because I mean, I can't stand when someone spread false doctrine like that, and then more than likely he's going around telling the same crap to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Leading other people to err and sin. So I had to make this video, to bring out a few scriptures that proves to you that these laws they still stand no matter what. As long just like I said before, as long as this earth is still here, no matter who you telling this to, it could be your family member, it could be your friends or whatever who don't believe in keeping the laws. Hey, these are a few scriptures right here. You can share this video to them, or you can write down these scriptures yourself and bring it out to them yourself. But as long as this earth is still here, these laws still stand. Just as it says in the book of Matthew, you know, not one jot or tittle shall pass away of the law until all is fulfilled. Roughly paraphrasing. So yeah, man, these laws are here to stay no matter what. All right. So with that, in closing, I say shalom.